Good morning and Sairam to all the students. Welcome back in your social science class. So student, today we are going to finish our chapter number 10, New Empires and Kingdoms, and it is our part 3. In part 3 we have 4 topics. First, how were these kingdoms administrated? A new kind of army, assemblies in the southern kingdom, ordinary people in the kingdom. So let's start our first topic. How were these kingdom administrated? Everybody knows the meaning of administration means the management or how they run. As in the case of earlier king, land revenue remained important for these rulers and the village remained the basic unit of administration. So basic what was the source of the revenue is the tax on land. There were some new developments as well as things adopted a number of steps to win the support of men who were powerful in the economically or socially or because of their political and military strength. So now I'm repeating this again. What happened? There were some new developments as well as these adopted a number of steps to win the support of men who were powerful. Because when you have a support of a powerful man, you become socially and economically powerful. For example, some important administration posts were now hereditary. Now, hereditary means it's like son the get after father and father got after his father. This means that son succeeded father to this post. For example, poet Harishena was the Mahadhana Nayaka or chief judicial officer like his father. So basically, Harishena got that upadhi of we can say Mahadhanda Nayaka because of his father. Some think one person held many offices also. Now there was another thing that it's not that one person got only one office. Sometimes one person also held many offices. For example, beside being the Mahadhanda Nayaka, Harishena was a Kumar Amantya also. Kumar Amantya meaning important minister, and Sandhi Vigrahika also, which means minister of war and peace. So now you can understand a single person can hold many ranks. Here Harishena hold 3 ranks. It's just an example, but basically what we came to know that a single person hold many ranks that time. Beside important men probably had AC in local administration. These include the Nagar, second ASS, our chief banker or agent of city, or Sarthak, a leader of the eminent Karvya, and the Pramatha Kulika or chief craftsman and the head of the law subscribes. So yes, we have many, you can say many different kind of things which a person can get. So as I told you that beside important men probably had to say in local administration, these included the Nagara Shreshthi or chief banker and merchant of the city or known as the merchant of Karma, and you can say Prathama Kulika, which we known as the chief craftsman. So these policies were reasonably affected, but sooner or later some of these powerful men grew strong enough to set up independent kingdom. So for a time being these policies were very effective, but after some time they themselves set up a independent kingdom. Now the next is new kind of army. What is a new kind of army? Like earlier, some of these kingdoms maintained as well organized army in which they have elephant, chariots, cavalry, foot soldier. Beside these were military leaders who provided the king with troops whenever he needed them. They were not paid regular salary. Instead, some of them received grants of land. Means they were not paid regular salary like monthly salary, but they get grants of land, means piece of land as a grant. They collected revenue from the land and used this to maintain soldier and forces and provide equipment for welfare. So now you know how a army maintained. These men were known as the Samantas. Whenever the ruler was weak, Samantha tried to become independent. Now, assemblies in the southern kingdom. The inscription of the Pallava mention number of local assembly. This included the Sabha, which was an assembly of Brahmin landowners. So, if in a small term, what is Sabha? Assembly of a land owners or Brahmin landowners. What is Sabha? Assembly of the Brahmin land owners. This assembly functioned through subcommittee which looked after irrigation, agriculture, operation, making roads, local temples. So now these committee looked after irrigation process, agriculture functions, temples, roads, and many more. The year was a village assembly founded in the area where the landowners were not Brahmins, and the Nagaram was an organization of merchants. It is likely these assemblies were controlled by rich and powerful landowners and merchants, because these assemblies were not made by the Brahmin. That's why they were, you can say, maintained or governed by powerful landowners and merchants. Many of these assemblies continue to function for centuries. Ordinary people in the kingdom. Now we will see how the ordinary people in the kingdom lived that time. We can catch occasional glimpse of the lives of the ordinary people from plays, their other account. Kalidasa is known for his play depicting life of the king's court. Everybody knows about the Kalidasa. He was a very famous poet of that time. An interesting feature about these plays is that the king and the most Brahmins are shown as speaking Sanskrit, while women and men other than king and Brahmin use Prakrit. His most famous play, Abhijanam Shakuntalam, is a story of love between king and name Dushyant and the young woman named Shakuntalam. So we find a very interesting story, and in your book, page number 118, a small description is written. A fisherman found a precious ring which the king had given to Shakuntala, but which had been accidentally swallowed by a fish. When he went to the palace with it, the gateman accused him of theft, and the chief police officer was rather rude. However, the king was happy when he saw the ring and sent a reward for the fisherman. Then the police officer and the gentleman decided to take a share of the reward and went along the fisherman to have a drink. So it's just a small extract from Abhijanam Shakuntalam. And here we also have something about Chinese pilgrim Fa Jian. Notice the flight of those who were treated as untouchable. Everybody knows about the untouchables. They were not treated nicely that time by the high and mighty. They were expected to live on the outskirts of the city. He writes, if such a man entered a town or a marketplace, such a man means untouchable, he strike a piece of wood in order to keep himself separate. People hearing the sound know what it means and avoid touching him or brushing against him. And Banabhatta provides us with a vivid picture of king's army on the move. So now in one more paragraph it is written about the king's army. The king's The king traveled with the enormous amount of equipment. Apart from weapon, there were things of daily use such as pots, pan, furniture, golden foot shawl, stools, food, including animals such as goat, deer, rabbit, vegetables, spices, carried on the cart or loaded on to pack animal such as camel and elephant. This huge army was accompanied by musicians beating drums and others playing horns and trumpets. Villagers had to provide hospitality along the way. They came with gift of curds, gur, and flowers, and provided fodder for the animal. They also tried to meet the king and place their complaint and petition before him. So, this is also written in your book of NCRT. So, this is all about new kingdoms and empires. We have true false in it. So, what you have to do, that you have to do in homework, book true false, and afterwards I'll also send you a PDF in which I will mention the correct answer of these book exercises. So now what you have to do, you have to read this chapter again and again. Now here your chapter number 10 is finished. In our next session we will meet with new chapter. Have a good day. Sai Ram.